Thank you, President Member. We have several prayer requests this evening. Our own school board member, Mr. Dwayne Dean, just went home from the hospital today and is doing well. Tamara Dant, W.T. Lewis library aide, got news that she has stage 4 cancer, has surgery tomorrow, and then she'll begin chemo. Miss Ella Hoffman, a Benton High School teacher, has been diagnosed with cancer. She had surgery yesterday. Airline High School head football coach Bo Meeks is undergoing cancer treatment. Angelique Bird, a Russian middle school facilitator, also has a cancer diagnosis, and she just started radiation. Mary Denman, our retirement specialist at the central office in Bossier Parish Schools, just began treatment for cancer. And then our own school board member, Mr. Glenn Bullard, is at home recovering from heart surgery. And then, as always, all of those individuals and families that have been affected by COVID-19. Thank you, President.
Please bow your heads and join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come to you, Lord, giving you thanks for all that you have bestowed upon us and blessed us with in this lifetime, Lord. I pray for your guidance among the board, dear Lord, that we make those decisions that bring glory to you and educate our children and give our employees something worth coming to every single day, Lord. We pray for your guidance as we move forward. Lord, we ask that you bless Dwayne Dean and Glenn Bullard, our fellow board members. We ask that you heal them. Dear Lord, more importantly, we ask that you look over all those that are battling cancer right now, Lord. We know that it's often the unknown that is the hardest part of cancer, Lord. We just ask that you place your healing hand upon each and every individual that was named tonight. Lord, there were numerous names, Lord. We just ask that you be with those families, you be with those individuals, and you guide them through this most difficult time, dear Lord. We pray for your healing upon all those affected by COVID-19, Lord, and what it has done to our country and to our students. Dear Lord, we just pray that you show each and every one of us the way to lead these children, to lead this parish. We ask for your blessing upon us. Amen.
Please join me.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll also mention we have one more school board member that's in the balcony, Ms. Darby. Good to see you in there. Keeping her social distance, so just wanted you to make known that she was here. Item 1.02, approval of the minutes of the regular session of the board for October 8, 2020. Motion by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Cheatham. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Item 1.03, approval of the agenda for the regular session of the board for November 5th, 2020.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bass, second by Mrs. Smith. Please vote. Motion unanimously carries. Item 2.01, recognition, newly appointed administrator, presented by Superintendent Ms. James.
Thank you, President Manberg. We have two outstanding administrators we want to recognize tonight. First of all, the newly named academic administrator for Bossier Schools Virtual Learning Program, Ms. Holly George, is a proud product of Bossier Parish School System. Graduated from Parkway High School. She's married to David George, who's a teacher and coach at Parkway, and his mother to Brian George, who is a teacher and coach at Benton High. She began her teaching career at Bel Air Elementary, served there for 6 years, went on to Elm Grove Middle, spent 15 years there, then moved to Halton High and became a graduation coach for 4 years. After that, Airline High as an assistant principal for 4.5 years, where she worked under Mr. Jason Rowland, and then most recently, Mr. Justin James. She's excited about the opportunity to work with the virtual students of Bossier Parish and hopes to make this program a viable choice for students and families across the parish. Miss Holly George. We're going to come up to the podium and say a few words, introduce guests that are here with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. I appreciate this honor. I do have my husband, David George, who is at Parkway, my son, Brian George, who is at Benton High, and then the lovely Maggie Ewan, who is at Platt Elementary. So when I say we are a family and a product of Bossier Schools, we really are, and we're excited about that. I want to thank the school board members 100% for this opportunity. It's a big task, and I hope to make everyone proud at some point. Did not get here by myself. Sorry, that's why I use the word at school. I just realized that. I want to thank Mr. Downey, Mr. Rowland, and Dr. Bourgeois. They have been phenomenal in helping to get this program up and running and going. Ms. Poole has been a godsend with finding those teachers for virtual. And Ms. McCauley, I love her, and she's a big supporter. So I wanted to shout out that too. It's a big goal that I take very seriously. We are focusing on engagement, communication, and accountability. Some of the areas that have been lacking. No fault to anyone. It's just a sign of the time and COVID and pandemic. And so I'm hoping to make this program, like I said in the speech, viable for those families that choose this route. I also want to bring some of the students back who have not been engaged since February. So that's going to be one of our goals also. I have an outstanding counselor, Emily Douglas. I was so thankful when she came aboard. She has been phenomenal. The elementary teachers are chosen. They'll be trained next week, and they go live on the 12th, November 12th. Middle school, they will also be trained next week, and they go live November 16th. And then we'll start focusing on high school, and we're going to try to get our students back and engaged in that group of students. It's a large group, and we're going to try to bring them back with the intent in mind that what's best for the students is what we need to do. So thank you all very much for this privilege. It's an honor to serve Bossier Parish in this capacity, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Our next recognition is the newly named Assistant Principal at Airline High School, Miss Jamie East. Miss East. Ms. East attended Apollo Elementary from kindergarten to third grade before moving out of state. She then, following graduation from high school, attended Auburn University, taught high school in Alabama, served as a missionary with her family for 2 years in Uganda, Africa, taught at Benton Middle for 4 years, and has been the assistant principal at Princeton for the last 2 years. Ms. East and her husband Matt have been married for 18 years and have 4 children, Tristan, Cole, Virginia, and Charlie. And one special note, Ms. East loves to watch her kids fulfill their passions, date her husband, run and read, and if there's a trip to go on, a picture to take, or a scrapbook to make, she's going to do it. Miss Jamie East.
Thank you so much, Mr. Downey. Thank you so much, President Bamberg and the entire school board. I'm so thankful for each of you and this opportunity. Thank you to Dr. Bourgeois and to Mr. Rowland. I really appreciate how much support and encouragement y'all have given me over the years. Maybe sliding in a few snide remarks about my choice of college football, but I still appreciate y'all, and I'm very thankful for y'all and all that you've done for me. I also wanted to thank Ms. Brotherton and the entire Houghton community for how much y'all have shown me love and support for my 2 years in Houghton. My time at Princeton, I definitely have a special place in my heart for the Houghton community and all of the opportunities that I had out there. It was just wonderful, and I'm going to miss them tremendously. But I'm very thankful for Coach James giving me this opportunity to serve at Airline High School. I've taught high school most of my career, but I also taught middle school and then was an administrator for elementary. So I feel like I'm going home to go back to high school to get back into being a part of a community and being able to, cheer on sporting events and all the fun things that go with high school. My sweet friends have been trying to teach me the airline cheers, and so I'm working on building that school spirit. But I'm super thankful for my cheering section I have back here. I don't know what I would do without them. My family, I didn't want my daughter to miss tumbling tonight, so they're not here. Except for my oldest is here, Tristan. I'm very engaged in his Minecraft game, but I'm super thankful for my support squad and everything that y'all have done. I can't wait to work with Coach James and Coach Wynn and Coach Stoll as we're building on a very positive climate and just trying to help us go even bigger at Airline. And so thank you to everybody, and thank y'all for this opportunity.
All right, that leads us to item 2.02, recognition, Bossier Parish Schools Good News. Ms. Bales, you get it from here.
Good evening, President Vandenberg, Superintendent Downing, to all of our board members and everyone here this evening. An extension of even more good news this evening. Several members of our school family received some particularly great news over the last few weeks, so it is my privilege to recognize them tonight, beginning with 3 of our Bossier Parish High School seniors. Would George Allen, Evan Boner, and Shane Hartnett please join me up front at the podium? I'm thinking that we're going to need a standing ovation. These 3 men have been named 2021 National Merit Scholar semifinalists. This is a most prestigious honor that recognizes the very top students in the nation for their exceptional academic abilities and their potential for success in college. George, first of all, if you would raise your hand. Here's George. George Allen, he is a senior at Houghton High School. Evan right here attends Benton High School. And to my immediate left is also a Benton High Tiger. So this process actually started a while back. It begins during the junior year. And to put this recognition in context, more than 1.5 million students entered the National Merit Scholarship Program by taking the PSAT and National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, I believe, last spring prior to COVID. And those who were chosen as semifinalists represent less than 1% of all U.S. high school seniors. And they include the highest scoring entrants in each state across America. So George, Evan, and Shane now advance to the finalist level to compete for the 2021 National Merit Scholarships, which we will be awarded in the spring. So I'm excited to bring all 3 of them back in the spring to announce that they made it to the finalist level. And Bossier Schools is so proud of each of you, and we have a special memento to commemorate this occasion. We present each of you with these special Award of Excellence medallions on behalf of Bossier Schools and also in partnership with our sponsors, Caldwell Banker Gosley. So I'm going to give each one of you one of these. not going to make you put it on. Congratulations to each of you. Let's see if I want Shane to stay here with me for a quick moment here, because we also want to applaud him for being chosen as a school winner for the 2020 Heisman High School Scholarship Program. The Heisman High School Scholarship Program recognizes student athletes throughout the country for their community service and rewards them for understanding the most important victories happen not only on the field, but also off the field in their schools and their communities. So Shane has been recognized with that honor, so let's please give him another round of applause.
I hate to interrupt, but
Can we see the Heisman pose, please?
I know I recognize one of our outstanding Bossier Parish employees. Airline high school teacher Billy Neal knows his stuff when it comes to cyber science and robotics. And now his knowledge is being tapped as a member of a national committee that is focused on developing K-12 cybersecurity learning standards that are going to be used in schools across America. Mr. Neal, would you please come forward? Educators from 22 states who recently collaborated on writing cyber curriculum standards to ensure that students throughout the nation not only have a foundational understanding of cybersecurity, but also the skills and the knowledge needed to pursue cybersecurity careers in greater numbers. Nominated by cyber.org, which is the academic arm of Cyber Innovation Center, and supported also by government agencies such as the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency and the National Institute for Cybersecurity Education. This is top-level stuff here. Mr. Neal's expertise was tapped for high school learning standards, and they just recently met, the goal being to grow a stronger cyber and tech workforce, because the current demand for cybersecurity talent is actually outpacing the supply. And you know, this is a cyber hub right here in Bossier City and Northwest Louisiana. It's projected by the year 2022 that there will be 1.8 million cyber jobs that will remain unfulfilled. So that's why there's a sense of urgency. But thanks to Mr. Neal, he is trying to turn that trend around, one student at a time. Not just at airline, but now nationwide. So let's give him a big round of applause. We want to thank him for the excellence that he shows in his teaching profession every day, and also award him this award of excellence. Congratulations. Bossier School's finances are in excellent hands, but don't just take our word for it. Chief Financial Officer Misha Bamberg and the Bossier Parish School Board Finance Department have earned the highest forms of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting for the 27th consecutive year. That is quite the feat. Ms. Bamberg, will you and your team please join us at the front? She does have a bigger team than this. And I'm going to let her introduce her team. But the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting is awarded by the Government Finance Officers Association, and the International Certificate of Excellence is awarded by the Association of School Business Officials International. And Mrs. Bamberg and the Finance Department received these certifications for the district's comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year that ended June 30th, 2019. And it represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its money management practices. The CAFR is judged by an impartial panel to meet the high standards of the program, which includes demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story and to motivate potential users and user groups to read the CAFR. And this is a notable achievement, and we just want to take the opportunity to commend our finance department for exhibiting fiduciary responsibility with Bossier Parish public funds for 27 consecutive years. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a huge accomplishment. Ms. Bamberg, if you would like to say a few words.
Thank you. I definitely can't take credit for all 27 years, but it has been an honor to serve Bossier Parish for the last year in this position. And so I do want to thank Mr. Gilbeck. He is our capital asset accountant, as well as he deals with all of our schools and our school accounting, and definitely could not do it without Mr. Beck. Unfortunately, several of the team members couldn't be here tonight, either due to travel or we actually unfortunately had a death in the family of one of our accountants, and so visitation happened to be at the same time as the meeting tonight. So, but I'm very, very proud of the accounting department. This is not a one-man show. This is what the department has done as a whole and has done for many, many years. So I'm very proud of them and proud to be able to serve this board. So thank you.
That also deserves awards of excellence for both of you, and I'm going to send medals with you for the rest of your finance department who cannot be here this evening. But thank you so very much, and congratulations. Job well done. You know, it takes people working tirelessly behind the scenes at schools to make it look seamless on the front lines. And that is certainly the case at Houghton Middle School, where the Bucks would not know what to do without instructional coach Lisa Lambert. An educator with Bossier Schools since 1999, Ms. Lambert wears many hats. She facilitates all the technology at the school, which, of course, technology needs have become even more critical since COVID and remote learning. She works with counselors on master schedules as well as daily schedules. She helps ensure that the teachers have the supplies and the resources they need to be effective in their classrooms. And Ms. Lambert provides professional development, working with educators in their professional learning communities and modeling best practices. Principal Richard Warren says, no matter the need, she is there to fulfill it. She works tirelessly to ensure our students and teachers have what they need to be successful. She is truly a servant leader. Houghton counselor Nicole Addison adds, Lisa spends countless hours doing things to help make others' jobs easier and to ensure that the hunger level of learning occurs for our students. To top it all off, she is a sincere person with a heart of gold. She blesses others more than she will ever realize. Well, we cannot let the opportunity pass us by to recognize Mrs. Lambert for all that she does and for what she means not only to Houghton Middle School, but also to our district as a whole. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Bossier Schools Gold Star recipient for the month of October, Ms. Lisa Lambert. To invite our partners from Bossier Federal Credit Union to come forward. They have sponsored our Gold Star Awards. Its inception 9 years ago. So, Jill Valentine, I think you have a special presentation, or Admiral does.
On behalf of Bossier Federal Credit Union, Ms. Lambert, we want to congratulate you on being our October Gold Star Award recipient for 2020. We are so thankful for everything that you do for not only Houghton Middle, but for Bossier Parish. Congratulations.
Good evening. Thank you. I want to thank Bossier Federal Credit Union and Houghton Middle. Y'all, this award is really not for me. It's for everybody that walks in my building every day. Every time we got a challenge this year, everybody in the building stepped up and gave us 100% of what they had and what they could do. And that's why we're the school that we are. And makes it easy to go to work every day when you work with a group of people that are all gold stars. Thank you.
Not too quick to get away, Ms. Lambert. Because we also have an Award of Excellence medallion for you because you certainly embody what excellence exemplifies. Congratulations. And President Bamberg, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Bales.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Downey, board members, good to be with you tonight. And as we have done a number of times through the multiple claims process, each time we are getting more insurance money from the insurer, it does require an official act and acceptance and authorization from Mr. Downey to execute this form. So since we have dealt with a number of different items, this particular one is for our first claim that occurred back in January, where we had the damage from wind at Benton Middle and Benton Intermediate. The insurer has paid us most of what is due, and also at this point, the board's $100,000 self-insured retention will be withheld. Ms. Bamberg and I are together on this number that is owed by the insurer, and so if you accept my recommendation, this will allow us to request the recoverable depreciation and final settlement of $314,280.13. The entire, as you will see on the form, just below or to the right of loss, about midway down, this claim costs just over $1.4 million. And so this will complete it, and then of course we will be on to the main event. But first, I would like to see if you have any questions about this, and I'll be happy to entertain them.
Entertain a motion. Motion second by Mr. Cheatham, second by Mr. Newman. Please vote. First, I have a question by Mr. Bass.
No.
After the unanimous vote, Mr. Bass.
Mr. Rogers, can
Yes, sir.
you share with the board our discussion on the loss that occurred in April?
Yes, sir. I will be happy to. As we suspected, the board's wise investment in the engaging Mr. Brian McNew, our architectural consultant, has yielded encouraging results to begin with. Number one, I'm very impressed with the accuracy, detail, whatever you would like to call it. He is mastering, I think, the scope of loss at each of the 4 locations that he has already rendered his report on, those being Benton Middle, TL Roads, Platte, and Legacy. Those reports, I think in most cases, he was able, along with the assistance of Mr. Norwood, Mr. Roger, others on the staff, and of course Mr. Rowland is facilitating all of our meetings, that he has been able to find some details that were not initially noticed by the insurance consultant. So I have dutifully sent those reports to him, requesting additional consideration on their review of it. I think next up will be Airline High School, and as you would guess, with all of these schools, this is a lot of square footage, so it really comes down to who documents what damage on a specific roof. Because when you're up there and you have a lot of different buildings with different types of roof surfaces, etc., you really have to go over it with a fine-tooth comb. So I think he's going to be a good professional expert advocate for us that will help. And just to reassure you, this has been my experience on every large claim that I've ever had where it's complex with a lot of roof surfacing. There is some negotiation back and forth, etc. And I'm glad that the board is investing in his services.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Take a breath before this one. Item 3.02, a request. Approval of the new Bossier Parish School Board Policy EFC Business continuity and technology disaster recovery, and the revisions of the Bossier Parish School Board policy, BC, school board meetings, CBD, employment of superintendent, DJD purchasing, DJED bids and quotations, GBDA employment of retired personnel, IDBA sex education, IDFAB sports injury management and concussions, JBH attendance reports for student drivers, JGC student health services, and JGCE child abuse is recommended by forethought and council. And I think normally we would have this in an admin meeting, and we decided to do it at a school, just a regular school board meeting, to kind of keep contact, close contact down as much as we can as a school board. So that's the reason that we're not having this in directly at an admin administration committee meeting. So we'll let you take it from here. This is going to be presented by Assistant Superintendent of Administration, Jason Rowe.
Thank you, President Vandenberg, Mr. Downey, and Administrative Committee Chair, Mr. Wiggins, spoke to him this afternoon as well. And so, as Mr. Vandenberg said, we bring to you again another round of policy, and we continue to work on the policy manual. This does come to us from forethought, as well as our attorneys have taken and provided us guidance on this. And I just want to point out some of the things that Mr. Geis and his team sent to us, and we were bringing to you tonight. I wanted to get some of this to you as fast as possible. This is policy from the Louisiana Legislature from the summer. This is non-COVID stuff, and I tried to make that difference, that distinction to you in the brief that I sent to you last week. So, Mr. Vandenberg, if you're okay, I would like to follow the guide that I sent to you guys, that I can just quickly go through this and give you, and I'll stop at each one. And we can make some decisions after that. The first one I want to talk to you about is the reference school board meetings. This is a revised policy. I'll bring this one to you first. There was a policy that Forethought sent to us. Mr. Geis and his firm advised us to just amend, revise the policy that we have already. Instead of adding a policy, we took a current policy that we have, filed under BC, and Mr. Geis provided us the wording there in its electronic meetings. Of course, this is what we've been doing. This is a response to COVID. We want to go ahead and get this in the policy. I provided you the exact verbiage that is going in the policy. Just our ability as a board to have electronic meetings. Any questions about that? The next policy revision is that of purchasing, and this would fall under Ms. Douglas's department, where just basically what we're doing is there was a revision made to qualified group purchasing, where it's not just things on state bid, but it's things that are at the same value or a lower price. It doesn't necessarily have to be on state contract. So that's the simple gist to this policy that was changed. Any questions about that one? Another one that falls under that would fall under Ms. Douglas, Ms. Carrie Douglas, would be that of bids and quotations. Very simply put, is that the contract limit for public works was raised from $150,000 to $250,000, reflected in bids and quotations. Also, 2 new definitions were added. The term emergency was added, and also extreme public emergency was added to this policy. Any questions? The new policy that we are bringing to you tonight, this is a response to the cyber attacks that were made across the state of Louisiana, really across the country last year. Forethought provided us a policy for this. It was extremely long and wordy. Mr. Geis and his firm reworded this policy, and we have provided the draft for you in the brief that I sent to you on Friday. The main thing about this is the school board authorizes the superintendent or his or her designee to prepare and maintain appropriate regulations and procedures for the proper usage of school board owned or leased computer equipment. Another part of this is talking about cyber training, cybersecurity training. Visiting Mr. Thompson today, we are unsure if this is going to be state provided or we're going to have to develop this on our own. He is looking into that, and we'll clear that up and we'll come back to you with that information. Any questions about this new policy, business continuity and technology disaster recovery? Another revision we come to you with tonight is that of employment of the superintendent, and there's the Act 292 addresses the selection of an interim superintendent, includes a list of reasons why the superintendent may be placed on administrative leave, and also provides us guidance for the interim superintendent, and that he or her would have the same authority as the superintendent for up to 6 months. Just some subtle changes there with that policy, again, a revision. The next, this is a revision, but our legal counsel took the policy and provided us an entire new draft of employment of retired personnel. Okay, so we are excited about this policy in the opportunity that it may afford us as a board to maybe increase our pool of applicants for certificated positions as well as those for support positions. And so basically what this policy does for us, and Mr. Geis has worded it succinctly in the draft he gave to us, it gives us two options. We can hire retired people after 1 year. There's two options now. We can hire a retired person, and they can maintain their retired benefit. They can continue to get that, and they can work up to 25% of their final compensation average. So that's something that's going to be more contract. The new thing that we're being provided here is option 2, which is a full-time position. And what you can actually do is you can suspend your retirement benefit. You can receive full pay, and you can also you can re-enroll into TRSL and begin paying into retirement. You commit for 36 months, and after that 36 months, you can have your retirement recalculated with the supplemental amount that you paid into TRSL. It still goes back to your final, the final adjusted pay that you had when you retired, but it would be increased to that new supplement that you were paying in at that time. That's the main difference. Visiting with a couple about this one policy, and again, we are communicating with human resources about how to really get the word out about this and the opportunity that it may give to us. And so, Mr. Upton, I know you're retired, but hey, you can come on back. No, okay. Any questions about that? All right, the sports injury and management and concussions. This is a revised policy. Not only is this LHSAA mandated now that all of our middle and high schools have what we call emergency action plans. All of our schools have provided this. That tells us everything about exits, about what we do in the case there is an emergency, where are the AEDs, who's responsible for them, who are the contacts per site, per sport, per event that's going on. This also is a comprehensive plan that allows best practices for American College and Sports Medicine and the National Trainers Association. It expands the provisions of sports injuries in schools. Again, a policy, it's a revision, but also now we're in conjunction with the LHSA handbook. Schools are also being tested on this to ensure that they have these policies and they meet the guidelines and the performance for what's expected through this. Any questions about this, about Act 259? Getting close to the end. Attendance reports for student drivers. The subtle change here is what drivers would come to the schools and they would need proof of attendance. Proof of enrollment. That's what we used to do. This bill now asks for proof of attendance. And so, what in essence it does for our high schools, if we've got a kid that's enrolled at Parkway High School and the kid says, well, I need my proof of attendance so I can go get my license. The school can actually say, well, here's your proof of attendance. You've already exceeded the amount of days you can miss. You will not be allowed to get your license until you can improve your attendance. So we're going to communicate this with schools and try to work with schools on how to do this, but hopefully it'll be effective. That is one motivation tool for kids to come to school is to get that driver's license, and we hope to use that to the advantage to improve attendance across the district. Any questions about that? The next one is student health services. And this revised the definition of dyslexia and accounted for phonological processing. That's the main difference in this one right here. It gives you a couple new things to where forethought the policymakers have wanted to be real intentional about how we define dyslexia and what it looks like within our school system. Last but not least, the policy of child abuse. This comes to us from our curriculum department. And what we wanted to do here is simply change. A lot of this is embedded in curriculum that we have already. We wanted to change the shall to a may, and that's what we sent to you. We actually copied and put that in your brief, what the policy will look like. And it is under, let's see, I've got that here. We've drafted that under JGCE. Any questions about the sex education policy? President Van Bergen, that concludes.
Yes, sir.
You have a comment?
Yes, sir, Mr. Wiggins.
As the administrative committee chairman, Mr. Rogan, you didn't play. So I have to say, your clarity was good. You were well understood. I didn't have to take a note. All we got to do is make a crack and take a vote.
So moved. Who made the motion? Mr. Newman. Motion by Mr. Newman. Second by Mr. Brotherton. And let's take that vote.
Vote.
Darby. Mr. Newman. There you go. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Coach Rowland. Item 3.03, a request declaration of surplus by Chief Procurement Officer, Ms. Carrie Douglas.
Thank you, President Van Bergen, Superintendent Downing, members of the board. Tonight I asked for permission to declare the items listed in the memo dated November 2nd as surplus.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Mr. Bass. Please vote. Mayor? Thank you, sir. Motion carries unanimously. Item 3.04 through 3.010 will be the Finance Committee report by held November 5th by Chairperson Eric Newman.
Thank you, President Van Berg. Report from the Finance Committee meeting held this evening. Everybody was in attendance except for Mr. Fuller and Mr. Dean, who are recovering at home. We wish them the best. Item number 1, the committee recommends the Bossier Parish School Board approve solicitation award 21-12 technology equipment and supplies as presented. This passed in committee.
Committee, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Item number 2, the committee recommends the Bossier Parish School Board enter into a cooperative agreement with the City of Alexandria in contract number 2291 for the purchase of vehicles as presented. This passed out of committee.
Out of committee, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Item number 3, the committee recommends the Bossier Parish School Board grant permission to issue solicitation for the purchase of band uniforms as presented. This passed out of committee.
Please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Item number 4, the committee recommends the Bossier Parish School Board approve the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire as presented. This passed out of committee.
Please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Item number 5, the committee recommends the Bossier Parish School Board approve the proposed revisions to the 2020-2021 budget as presented. This passed out of committee.
Please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Item number 6, the committee recommends the Bossier Parish School Board move forward with allowing all employees access to use direct deposit. This passed out of committee.
And please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Question on Mr. Bass.
Yes, Ms. Bamber, when we meet back in March as we discussed in committee, are we making headway on the clarification of the positions and whether they're being filled or not, or positions that may be, just wanted to request when we meet back in March, we have a clear idea of what positions those are. Okay, thank you.
Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Newman. Item 3.11 is a request. The board may enter into executive session to discuss potential litigation relative to claims of M. Langen pursuant to LARS 42:14A2 and any action relative thereto upon returning to open session. Motion by Ms. Smith.
Second.
Second by Mr.